This is Al Fritz from Earth Healing. Today we're going to talk about being political is a sacred duty. All of those words have a meaning, and we'll try to explain it in the course of time. Really, I'm not telling you anything new. You all know it as much as I, that half of our population in America does not vote. And they consider it, in some cases, less government is better government. And these episodes of either not participating in their citizen duty or in bad-mouthing and belittling the government that we have is not doing good for our country, our climate, and the world, which needs a good, active political action on the part of the United States. Political action is not something that's done by just a few people. It has to be done by all of us. We are in a democracy. We're not in a communist state or in a totalitarian regime where we could possibly do some underground work or something like that. I'm not into that at all. We're in a democracy where our citizen duty is to vote and to participate in government. And that this means that we have to be political. The Holy Father, Pope Francis, has told us that each of us, all believers, should be people who are really political at heart. We have to do this because it is the art of the possible. We have to make a possible world which is economically different from what we have at the present time, changing the status quo, that is. And we also have to make one where the world itself, as a community of nations, can participate in curbing climate change. We have great tasks ahead of us. And in order to do that, we have to participate in government. Let's talk about the various ways. The first and primary way is to vote, is to know the candidates. Of course, you have to know them in order to vote for them. And therefore, it is important for us many times when we do not know them for one or other reasons, mostly at a local level, we ask those we trust to tell us who are the better candidates to vote for. But we have to vote. Half of our people do not, but they must if we are going to show the impact needed for the changes which are before us. And so participation means, first of all, being citizens who take part in our government. To hear that little statement, oh, I don't think anything of government, and do not allow that to be challenged by us, is our lack of participation in government. We have to make people understand, the others around us, that we have a citizenship that has a duty to it. It is not just there, but it's also one in which we have to help continue to go and grow and be enhanced. And so we have, as a people, we have a duty. And when we look a little closer at that duty, we can say that that means that we have to be political, but not partisan. Partisanship means loyalty to a certain cause, no matter what it is. We do not have to be loyal to any political party that we have in our country, and therefore forget that maybe morally we are against certain things that they hold. I can honestly say that I'm not for everything in every party. And therefore, there is one in which promotes pro-choice to a degree which I do not agree with. And I think that the pro-choice has to be considered to be balanced by pro-life even within that party. There is another party that has ideals of which the rich can do and be and say whatever they care to. Sort of a maximum type of excessive capitalism. And this is not right either. Now, we can answer that in two ways. We can say, we'll try to do something about it, or we will refrain from doing something about it. And that neither of those are good unless we have a good, effective way of acting. And so it is important that we consider ourselves. And then that raises the question, are we outside of political parties? And the answer is, well, we have to be outside of one if there are several, and we can only participate in one at most. But which is the one? Sometimes we could consider this as enhancement is the important thing, and therefore we join a political party. That means that we actually join it in order to keep it going in the direction that we want it to. Another way of looking at it is we join a political party which we do not fully agree with and actually maybe consider it to be less than one of the others. But our enhancement from within can help that party more than anything else we can do. So joining a political party is different from being partisan. And therefore we are asked at times to consider carefully the political systems that we've got today, which includes, not during the reign of James Monroe, who was really at a time when we had no great political divides, very rare. It was only that one small occasion in our long American history. But most of the time we have political ways of acting, and we have to face it. We're not going to be the ones that make all the change from that being non-political as far as parties go. We're going to have these differences, especially as we make our country move in a direction of a new economy, a new renewable energy economy. There are people who will object to certain parts of this, and their objections should be heard and actually balanced along with others. And so political parties are, as of this moment, quite important in the United States, and we should consider that in our ways of acting. Even a deeper level of participation should be in the way of which, well, are we to be public servants? Now, public servants is one who is voted into office, and we could maybe be moved by the Lord and the Spirit to become a public servant and become a candidate and run for an office. Fine. Not all of us are called with that talent. And we should face the fact that some are better called than others. And those who are, we sometimes know very closely by knowing them that they could do a good job or a superior job even. They need our support. They need our encouragement. They can't do it alone. And so for that reason, when we talk about public servants, we should think in terms of those who are related to us, well, either by blood or else by friendship, or those who are slightly different or distant, but who need our support, because it's a lonely task to go all that way, not only to be a candidate, but to be elected to that office, and then hear the tremendous numbers of people coming from all directions that can actually make us in some ways bribed by those who give more money or something like that. And so the candidate and the legislated person should be people who are immune from these temptations that occur throughout our economic system. So we have to be people who support them, both spiritually and support them actually in person, to actually show that we are behind them. We have to be, as citizens then, not only public servants, but monitoring, or guarding and watching over and supporting and constantly communicating with those who are elected to office. All of these make us political. No one can do all the things that we have just mentioned. Or they can write letters, or they can make petitions, or they can do the various things that take effort and time. But all of us can do some things, and we know others who need to do some things. We should either bring the public along to its political activity, or we should ourselves become more and deeply involved. These are not new topics. These are not things that you have not heard, but it's things that should be said over and over, and it should be said very emphatically at this time in our American history. Think about that. Do we have a duty, the duty of being a citizen? Do we have a duty of being political? And is this a sacred duty? For if we do not, we are doing something immoral. That is not right. We do not want to do that, so therefore we want to live a good life. And that good life means a sacredness to it. So think about this. We are people called to be political. Let's do it. This is Al Fritz from earthhealing.info. Come and visit us sometime. Your comments, especially on this subject, are very deeply appreciated. Thank you.